If you're teaching biblical principles, at some point you're going to offend people, even, your normal law abiding citizens, right? That's, the point of the, gospel is to point us towards Christ because we are imperfect and he's the only thing that is. So, it's pretty, there's high stakes, people may come after a pastor or protest, and just knowing different scenarios and how to respond to that, it's needed.
The reason I got my concealed carry license a few years back was because of that scenario that happened over in White Settlement, right? At that church. We were, somewhat close to that scenario because the former president of our HOA in our neighborhood, that was his brother that got shot and killed.
Wow.
He was one of the deacons or elders, I don't know what they call them over there, that was licensed to carry. They had gone through training and all that kind of stuff. I think one of the guys that was on their security team at that church was a police officer, and they did the same thing, similar to what you're talking about, had range days and all that kind of stuff. And there was like 5 or 6 guys that were a part of this team. And supposedly this guy comes in, he's a homeless guy off the street that had been in there a couple times during service and kept asking for handouts. He's asking for money and all this kind of stuff. And they would try to assist him and give him different things. And he got mad because of something and came back to the church with a gun and started shooting people.
Yeah, we've studied that one extensively. And so we screen people a lot at the doors. So we're also, we're a safety security team, but, we're like an extra greeter, right? So, that's something we've, implemented is really screening.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell, if someone's just looks off, or, you start recognizing the normal, people and stuff, and then just, being able to make a presence, introduce yourself, and, just see if, hey, you need any help with anything, you know where you're headed, and ask them, and just making that connection with them. Sometimes it can help you kind of read people a little bit, but we're real big about screening before they get in. With all the congregation or in a sanctuary. So we definitely implement that because of things like that. I think we all learn from, those various scenarios that we've seen happen. And it's just a need. It's sad that it's needed, but it's a way to serve in the church. And we prepare for the worst, but we may only hand out a Band-Aid or tell someone how to get to a particular class, but or just another smiling face to greet somebody, but we train for everything. So.
Well, the one thing that was that stood out to me, and I think a lot of people that went back and looked at that footage of that situation, that the guy that got killed, he was he had had it in the small of his back, his gun, and it got hung on his jacket as he was trying to, and that 2 seconds cost him his life.
Right.
And it's going back to your point of you've got to practice, you've got to train. So if you're wearing a jacket, you got to know how to clear that gun from your jacket. How to
Absolutely.
you got to get back there quick and be able to do that. And I think a lot of people, they get their license to carry, they get the concealed carry permit and all that type of stuff, and that's all that they do after that.
Right.
They don't get extra training. And I think what you're saying is go pursue more training.
Absolutely.
Find out where you can get that done. And it sounds like the place that your church uses, is that
there's 2 different places that we use. And so one, we use more of like the range and then some classes to get people through like the fundamentals. The other one more gets people to be like an actual security officer, like a level 4. But he also opens for various trainings, some type of whether it be team tactics or like recently I went to one that I assumed it was going to be all day, moving and shooting and stuff. And like half of it was like, baton training.
Oh, really?
Stuff like that.
Okay.
So
and
it
using
even led
something
me
other than a gun.
Right, exactly. Because you need a less lethal, because not every situation, a lot of de-escalation training. That is huge, because obviously you want to avoid a confrontation. You don't want people getting into a fist fight in the middle of a church. So a lot of de-escalation stuff, and then having a less lethal option as well. You're not always wanting to just draw a handgun. Just because, that's like an absolute worst case scenario. You're usually responding, if they're, they need to present a weapon or like have an immediate threat to somebody before you even think about that. It's literally a last resort. So and there you go, back to jiu-jitsu. What a better way if someone's just being obnoxious or, wanting to get in a fist fight and stuff, and being able to just control somebody, move them off until you can get some help. And, it's incredible. You need it.
Yeah, you definitely need it. And I think it's important to note as well, if you're going to brandish your firearm, you need to be ready to use it.
Absolutely.
If that thing comes out of your holster, more likely you're going to shoot. You're going to pull that trigger than not.
Yeah.
And I think having that less lethal option, like jujitsu or Filipino martial arts or how to wield a baton or whatever you have that's less lethal,
Yeah.
should always be first.